Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be taking a Qliphort deck profile. Now this deck is actually really fun. I really enjoy this deck profile. I really enjoy this deck, and it's one of the only Pendulum decks that I really like, because it's kind of like an old school beatdown deck in a way, that you just search a couple of cards, and then summon a bunch of cards, and attack for game. Like, I really like that about this deck, and plus it came out in the Duelist Alliance era, and that's probably my favorite era of dueling, and so this was one of the decks I was running around at the time, so I have very fond memories of dueling this deck, dueling against this deck. So I hope I do it justice, guys, and I did get a Link monster recently with Qliphort Genius, and we'll see what we can do. So before we get into this, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell down there so you can be part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this. So recently, Qliphort Towers actually went to 3. So we're going to be playing 3 copies of that. Basically, this card cannot be special summoned. It requires 3 Qli monsters to summon this card. And then if this card is normal summoner set, it is unaffected by spell or trap effects, and any monster whose original level and or rank is lower than this card's current level. All special summon monsters lose 500 attack and defense, and once per turn you can make your opponent send 1 monster from their hand or their side of the field to the graveyard, their choice. Now the interesting thing about this is it is affected by Link monsters, unfortunately, and that's why it's actually been able to be brought back to 3, is because so many decks play Link monsters that can pop it simply with just a Cerberus, but if your opponent has already used up their Link monsters, you can summon this and just OTK your opponent really easily. So the next card that we're going to be playing 3 of is 3 copies of Qliphort Disc. All the Qliphort monsters have the same pendulum effect of that you cannot special summon monsters except for Qli monsters, but the interesting thing is about this is there's Monolith and Scout have other effects that are really interesting, but we'll go into that in a little bit later. So this card, and they cannot be negated. All Qli monsters gain 300 attack when this card's in the Pendulum Zone, but the main monster effects are the really interesting ones. So all Qli monsters share the same ability except for Scout and Monolith. This card can be normal summoned without tributing, and if this card is normal summoned without tributing, or is special summoned, its level becomes 4, and its original attack becomes 1800. If this card is normal summoned or set, is unaffected by the activated effects of monsters whose original level and rank is lower than this card's current level. All of them share that effect. And then they have an additional effect. So now that we've got that over with, I'm just going to read their additional effects from now on. So the additional effect is that you can special summon 2 Qliphort monsters when this card is tribute summoned, but destroy them during the end phase. That's not that big a deal because they go to the extra deck. And you don't really even need that much of an extra deck or in this deck. Some people even play the Monarchs Erupt in this deck, and they don't even play an extra deck. But I like playing Qliphort Genius, so we do. Then I played 3 copies of Qliphort Scout or Stealth. I wish I could play 3 Scouts. This card does the same thing where it makes all the Qlis gain 300 attack. And its effect is when this card is tribute summoned by tributing a Qli monsters, you can target 1 card on the field and return it to the hand. Your opponent cannot activate cards in response to this card's activation, which is cool. Then we play 2 copies of Shell. Shell's effect is that if this card is normal summoned by tributing a Qli monster, it can make a second attack during each battle phase, and if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage. Now, the 9 scales actually have an opposite effect in the Pendulum effect, that they make all of your opponent's monsters lose 300 attack. So that's something to keep in mind. Then we play 3 copies of Helix. 3 copies of Helix. Helix is really interesting because when if this card is normal summoned or set, let's see, where is it? If this card is tributed, you can target 1 spell and trap card on the field and destroy it. This one does the spells and traps, and the other one does monsters. So Carrier pops monsters, and Helix pops spells and traps. So that's really good in the deck, and you can normal summon them, they become 1800 attack, just like all the other ones. And then Monolith and Scout are the ones that are the oddballs in the group. So Monolith, I play at 3 because Monolith, I think, is one of the best cards in the entire deck. And Monolith's effect is that you cannot special summon monsters except Qli monsters. And then this card's effect cannot be negated. Once per turn, during your end phase, if you tribute summoned this card, you can draw cards equal to the number of cards, equal number of Qli monsters that you tributed. So if you summon Qliphort Towers, you're drawing 3 cards, which is really good. So that's its effect. It's a vanilla besides that. And then we play 1 copy of Scout, which really funny. Besides the Exodia pieces being limited, this is the only normal This is the only normal monster on the list currently limited. I think that they should bring it back to 2 or even 3. I don't think it would hurt at 2. But basically, this card is you pay 800 life points and you get to add a Qli monster a Qli card from your deck to your hand. And you cannot special summon monsters except Qli monsters. So forget link summoning besides Qliphort Genius when you have something in your pendulum scale. But we have something for that to fix that, so we can summon what we need to summon. But that's it for the monsters. Let's get into the spells and traps. So for the spells, we're going to play 2 copies of Laser Cleave. This card is during your main phase. You can normal summon 1 Qli monster in addition to your normal summoner set. And then normal summons of Qli monsters cannot be negated. So your opponent can't Solemn Strike them or something like that. And it's just a really good card overall. But it's a field spell, which is kind of awkward. Then we play 2 copies of Limiter Removal because you can limiter removal them, which is really, really cool. Then we play 3 copies of Sacrifice. This card, you can equip it to a Qli monster and it gains 300 attack and it cannot be destroyed by battle. The equipped monster is treated as 2 tributes when you tribute summon a Qli monster, which is really, really good because you can use, like, if you pendulum summon out 2 and then you activate this, you can tribute both of them to summon a Qliphort Towers, or you can normal summon 1 or pendulum summon 1 and then activate Sacrifice and then tribute it to summon like Disc and then special summon 2 from deck. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a Qli monster from your deck to your hand. So when you tribute the monster, you can like add Qlis back from your deck, which is good. Then we play 3 copies of Summoner's Art because we really need to get to Scout as quickly as possible. And this lets us add level 5 or higher normal monsters from our deck to our hand. And I love that it's got Cybertech Alligator on the card. That's just awesome. So this is the card that I was talking about that really helps us. I think 3 Wavering Eyes is a must-have in this deck because it destroys cards in your Pendulum Zone, which if it destroys 2, you get to add a Pendulum monster from your main deck to your hand. I think that 3 Wavering Eyes is really important to this deck because if you activate like 2 Wavering Eyes, Pendulum summon your entire hand, and then add a Qli monster from your deck to your hand, you can then link summon them because you don't have anything in your extra monster zone. Not in your extra monster zone, in your Pendulum zones. But also, this adds Scout. So you have 6 ways to add Scout, which is really, really good. Or actually, 9 ways to add Scout, but we only have 1 Scout, which kind of sucks. So if that 1 Scout goes, we're in a problem. So that's why I play 3 Wavering Eyes in this deck. And then for my own little personal tech, I like 3 copies of Iron Draw because it's really easy to get exactly 2 machine monsters on the field. And then it lets you draw 2 cards, but after this card resolves, you can only special summon once. Not a big deal. We're not special summoning all that much in this deck either, and it's really easy to control how many cards we special summon on our side of the field, being a Pendulum deck. You can just normal summon 1, or you can Pendulum summon for 2, or you have Genius on the field and you normal summon 1 and then you activate this, and it doesn't matter at that point. So, Iron Draw, really, really, really good card. If you don't want to play Iron Draw, play Into the Void instead. Some people play Into the Void in this deck over Iron Draw. I actually put Iron Draw in here because it lets me draw 2 cards instead of 1 and doesn't make me lose my entire hand. But there's a cool little interaction with Monolith that you can actually get let's just say, for instance, this is Into the Void. You activate Into the Void's effect, discard your entire hand, and then Monolith's effect activates, and you get to add, you get to draw cards equal to the number you tributed. So that's something interesting. But you have to have 3 cards in your hand to activate Into the Void. So just an option if you guys want to do that, but I personally don't. So for the traps, guys, we're going to be playing just a few in this deck. I think we're only playing 3, and that's Climate Change, and that is you get to target 3 face-up Qli monsters that are in your extra deck and then add them to your hand, which is good because it lets you not have to worry about your extra monster zone. Then I play 1 copy of Recreate. If a monster is normal or summoned or flip summoned and it is a level 4 or lower monster, negate its effects until the end phase of the turn. And if a monster is special summoned and it is a level 5 or higher monster, negate its effects until the end phase of the turn, but banish it when it leaves the field. If you control no Qli monsters, you send this card to the grave. I honestly want to play this at 2. I don't know what I want to drop out of the deck yet. To play it at 2, I might drop like a Laser Qli or something like that, but I really like it at 2. And then I play 1 copy of Skill Drain too, to kind of like help me when I normal summon them for them to come out as their regular levels and stuff. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is actually a debut deck profile. I've never done this deck profile on my channel before, but I've been playing around this deck for a long time. So then we play 3 copies of Qliphort Genius, the only monster that we can really special summon from our extra deck while we have something in our extra monster zone or in our pendulum zone. And this card's effect is that it's unaffected by spell and trap cards. And then, or other link monsters effects, and then once per turn you can target one face-up monster on either player's field. Both of the cards have their effects negated. But here's the really cool effect. When 2 monsters are special summoned at the same time to zones this card points to, you can add a level 5 or higher machine monster from your deck to your hand. So if you pendulum summon to both zones from your extra deck, then you can add like Scout to your hand. So you have even more ways to search that Scout, which is really cool, or a Qliphort Towers if you want to. Then for the other ones, we don't really go into these all that often. That's Boral Sword, Boral Load, because they're the big monsters, the big mamma jammas. We play 1 Nightmare Unicorn for bouncing, Phoenix to pop back row, Cerberus to pop monsters, Electromite because it's a pendulum deck, and Mrs. Radiant for the boosts. But basically we're just going to go for Genius. You can go for Hope Harboring Titanic Galaxy because Stealth and Shell are both level 8, and if you can get them both out on the field with their effects negated, you can summon this and negate spells. Disc counts as 7, so you can summon Flare Metal. And then something interesting that I happened upon is that you can play Nova and Infinity if you can get like 2 monoliths on field. So just something that you can throw in the extra deck if you want to summon it. It's an option that's there. And then I play 1 copy of Exciton Knight as well, because it's the only rank 4 that I really want to go for. If you want to play more rank 4s and feel like you need more rank 4s, drop these and play the Utopia engine. If you want to, that is a big option, or play Baguska to negate monster effects on your side of the field as well. That's something else that you could do if you wanted to, if you wanted to go that route. But I like this engine right here. But what I was saying was like this, and this if you want to. I personally like the other way because it gives me more options, and I'm not special summoning from the extra deck that much anyways besides my Clee monsters. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed playing this deck. It's a lot of fun. It's probably one of the only pendulum decks that I actually like playing. So anyways, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell down there so you can become a part of my notification squad. And if you are a part of the notification squad, comment down there and tell me that you are so I can give you a big heart. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.